lynched, that he had been strangled, asphyxiated. Do I believe a lynching occurred? No, I do not believe that. But I do know I need to see the neck.
Yeah, and let me tell you where the neck is. It's or the organs of the neck, as it's referred to. These neck structures are actually being held by the Mississippi State Medical Examiner's Office, and they don't just arbitrarily hold things like this, Nancy. This is something that would commonly go with the body when the body is released. So I deduce the fact that they have seen something there that they're trying to hold on to from an evidentiary value. Remember, the state still has an ongoing investigation in this case, and they see evidentiary value in this. And yes, I know that the second autopsy prosector up in D.C. would have liked to have seen this, but he understands this, why they would retain it. And it is being retained, I can promise you that, as are other tissue samples. But the problem is that when you get into these structures in the neck, one of the things you're trying to assess is, was this a drowning? Also, is there any kind of trauma? If people will just put their hands right here in the midline of your neck, you'll feel that kind of cartilaginous body there. That's cartilage, right? That can be fractured. Need I remind you, Epstein, right? So you have to examine this. Also, here's our word, Nancy. They're talking about the hyoid is missing as well. So they don't have that.
Show me Joe Scott Morgan, because show me Joe Scott. You and I, hyoid, we know what it is because you and I have handled a ton of asphyxiation, ligature, manual strangulations, you name it. Hyoid, explain. So delicate.
Yes. Yeah, and it's very, very far up the neck, Nancy. And one of the things that happens is that with the hyoid, it's generally only traumatized as a result of direct pressure that's generally applied by a throttling event or a C-clamp like this, throttling meaning like this, so manual strangulation. And an outlier here is ligature strangulation, but primarily hands-on. So they're looking for little fractures in here all along the way. So that has to be dissected along with these there's a couple of other structures that you look at as well. They've held on to this for some reason. I don't have the answer for that, but I can tell you it's being preserved. I don't know if they're getting further consultation on their end, that is the state. And I'm sure that... Yeah.
Stop. Joe Scott, you're giving me so much information. Let me tell everybody, if they don't know who you are, why you're here tonight. Okay? Joe Scott Morgan is a death investigator. He has investigated over 10,000 death scenes of all natures. You've only got a few choices. You've got homicide, suicide, accident, natural causes like a heart attack, and unexplained. Tonight, we've got 2 unexplained medical examiner's reports.
Yeah.
Why? We don't have the lungs in a potential drowning case. Why? We don't have the neck in a potentially, as you said, throttling case. Why? Yeah. Those are the 2 main things I want to see. Joe Scott Morgan, professor of forensics, Jacksonville State University, with a world-class criminal procedure department. I've toured it myself. He's the author of Blood Beneath My Feet on Amazon, and he is the star of a hit podcast, Body Bags with Joe Scott Morgan, and so much more, but that would take the whole program. Joe Scott, really? With allegations floating, very incendiary allegations of lynchings, of throttlings, of ligatures. The main thing I want to see, the lungs and the neck, and they're both missing. I have a problem.
Well, I don't know that the lungs are necessarily missing. Let me tell you how this works. They have done sections of the lungs at the ME's office in Mississippi. Now, the one thing that is included in this report relative to the second autopsy that's been released is that the doctor here, who is a fantastic doctor, highly credentialed, knows what he is doing, former chief medical examiner for DC, he is stating that he has taken tissue samples. He repeats this over and over again in the report. He submitted this for his own histology. Why is that important? Well, if you get into the lungs, that lung tissue, and he can identify it even in it I'm going to be real graphic here. It arrived in a bag. Okay. So he would have to pick through this, find lung tissue in there, and then sample that. And he's going to be looking microscopically for signs of drowning there. And he'll make his own assessment. One of the things I'm concerned about, Nancy, and I hope that they did this down in Mississippi, is that when they do this initial examination, did they do diatom testing, which is you're looking for these little bits of algae that are distinct to both freshwater and saltwater. And if you find that within the system, that's also an indication that the individual may have been submerged and taken on water. So right now we've got a lot of questions, but as the second doctor says, this is all still pending investigation.